There's a specific moment when you realize you're not moving forward anymore. Not dramatically, not with a sudden crash. It happens so quietly you almost miss it. A Tuesday morning where you catch yourself doing the exact same thing you did last Tuesday and the Tuesday before that. You're not sad. You're not even aware you're drowning. You're just persistent in your smallness. And the worst part? You can't pinpoint why. Most people blame circumstances, bad timing, wrong partner, unfair job market, the economy, your parents. But here's what psychology has quietly discovered. The thing keeping you stuck isn't external. It's emotional, and it's not the emotion you think it is. When researchers at Stanford began studying why intelligent, capable people hit invisible ceilings in their lives, they expected to find fear. Everyone assumes fear is the culprit. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of not being good enough. But fear, it turns out, is actually an accelerant. Fear makes you move. Fear makes you do something. What they actually found was stranger and far more powerful. It was something called emotional contract. An emotional contract is an invisible agreement you made, usually before you were old enough to consent to it. It's a deal between you and your environment that goes something like this. If I stay small, I stay safe. If I don't want too much, I won't lose too much. If I don't ask for more, no one will ask more of me. You didn't write it. No one explicitly taught it to you. But you absorbed it the way you absorb a language, through repetition, through watching, through the subtle feedback loops of your earliest relationships. The person who had a parent perpetually stressed about money doesn't consciously think, I should never earn more. Instead, they unconsciously calibrate their ambition downward. They'll work hard, yes. They'll get promoted. But just before the truly big move, the business launch, the bold ask, the public visibility, something inside them applies the brakes. Not out of fear, out of loyalty, out of an ancient, unspoken contract that says, don't become what I couldn't become. Don't make me feel smaller by becoming bigger. Or the person whose parent was chronically depressed learns a different contract. Your job is to be the reliable one, the stable one, the person who doesn't cause problems. So they become that. They're the person everyone leans on, the friend who's always available, the employee who never rocks the boat. And they do it so well that they forget they have other dimensions. They get stuck not because they're weak, but because they're too loyal to a role someone else unconsciously assigned them. Here's what most personal development misses. You're not stuck because you lack willpower. You're stuck because part of you has a very good reason, an emotional reason, to stay exactly where you are. That reason lives in your nervous system as a felt sense of safety. It's not rational. It can't be logicked away with vision boards or affirmations or podcast episodes. It's felt, embodied, real. Your system learned early. This size is safe. This role is predictable. This version of you won't disappoint anyone who matters. And the deeper you've invested in this contract, the more it's shaped your relationships, your career, your self-image, the more your entire life has organized itself around maintaining it. Breaking the contract doesn't feel like freedom. It feels like betrayal. Think about what happens internally when you contemplate something genuinely bigger. Not bigger in an ego way, genuinely bigger. A conversation that could change a relationship, a creative work that could matter, a boundary that could cost you someone's approval. Notice what comes up. It's usually not doubt. It's something colder. It's a sense of wrongness, a discomfort that says, this isn't for people like you. This is for people whose parents weren't anxious, or depressed, or critical, or absent. The neuroscience here is simple, but devastating. Your brain spent decades learning to predict threat. It got very good at it. And one of the biggest threats it learned to predict is your growth will cost you connection. Not because that's universally true, but because it was true in the specific ecosystem where you grew up. Maybe your success made a parent feel inadequate. Maybe your happiness made a depressed parent feel worse. Maybe your independence was read as rejection. Your system doesn't care if that's fair. It learned growth equals rupture, so it built walls. The person who can't ask for a raise doesn't lack courage. They're igskupige. And here's the trap. Those walls have names. They're not called fear. They're called responsibility. They're called loyalty. They're called maturity. They're called knowing your limits and being realistic and thinking about other people. They feel like wisdom, but they're often just old contracts, now internalized so deeply you think they're you. The person who can't ask for a raise doesn't lack courage. They're living out a contract that says, people who ask for things are selfish. The person who stays in an unfulfilling relationship isn't afraid of loneliness. They're honoring a contract that says, your needs are less important than keeping people around. The person who never finishes their book or starts their business isn't lazy. They're protecting themselves from the felt sense of becoming someone the people in their origin story might not recognize. This is why willpower fails. Willpower is trying to override a system that's doing exactly what it was designed to do, keep you alive. And in the context of your original family, smallness was a survival strategy. It probably worked. It probably kept the peace. It probably got you love, or at least the closest thing to it you could get. But now you're in a different ecosystem. The threat is no longer present. You're an adult. You can handle rejection. You can grieve ruptures. You can rebuild connections. But your nervous system doesn't believe that yet, because belief doesn't live in the rational mind. It lives in the body, in the felt sense of whether the world is safe. This is why some people can read 100 books on confidence and still feel small. Because confidence isn't information. Confidence is a visceral, felt sense of belonging in bigger spaces. And you can't think your way into a visceral shift. You have to feel your way there. The stuck feeling you have isn't a personality flaw. It's not laziness. It's not that you're not trying hard enough. It's that you're experiencing a conflict between the person you're capable of becoming and the person your original contracts say you're allowed to be. And that conflict lives as a constant, low-level hum of wrongness. It expresses as procrastination, as self-sabotage, as inexplicable inertia right before the important moves. What makes this particularly insidious is that this conflict is usually invisible. You don't see the contract, you just feel its weight, and you interpret that weight as evidence that you're not ready yet, that you need more time, more skills, more preparation, more proof that you deserve to take up more space. But the preparation never ends, because the contract isn't about readiness. It's about permission. Here's what the research on emotional contracts shows. The moment you name them, the moment you can articulate the specific agreement you made, usually non-verbally, with your past, something shifts. Not everything. Not overnight. But something. Because you've moved it from the unconscious to the conscious, from felt sense to words, from the dark to the light. Your contract might be, if I become too visible, I'll be destroyed. Or, if I succeed, I prove that they should have believed in me more. Or, if I leave, I'm betraying the family story. Or, if I'm happy, I'm ungrateful for what I have. These are the invisible agreements, the ones you never signed, the ones that are costing you your life. The real question isn't how to become unstuck. The real question is, who gave you permission to stay small, and have you given yourself permission to outgrow that assignment? Because here's the truth that no one tells you. Becoming unstuck isn't an achievement. It's a betrayal. It's a betrayal of the contracts. It's a betrayal of the people who needed you to stay contained. It's a betrayal of the version of you that said, I will stay here so they don't have to feel worse about themselves. And maybe, just maybe, that betrayal is the most honest thing you could do. The stuckness you feel isn't stopping you from being great. It's protecting you from becoming someone your past self promised you wouldn't become. But the cost of that loyalty is your future. You can't move forward without breaking contracts you didn't know you signed.